No job too small. Alphinaud was resisting the urge to pat himself on the back. I mean, you deserve it, Alfie. Though our friends are searching for refined adamantite and sacred relics, we will only know if they meet your requirement once they have arrived. In the meantime, is there aught else we might do to be of service? Ha! You've already done more than enough. If I had to say, though, I could use someone who knows a thing or two about elegant technology. You there, the lad with the red eyes and matching hair. You seem to know more than the average scholar. Hey, Graha! Ha! If only Master Kokol knew how right he was. While he and Graha establish a rapport, why don't we help with preparations for the Great Exodus? Indeed, this would mean going above and beyond the terms of our arrangement, but I propose this not to curry favor. As confident as I am that we will succeed, we must be ready for every eventuality. This would also be an opportunity to familiarize ourselves with the logistics of traversing the Great Expanse. And if nothing else, it beats twiddling our thumbs while we wait for the adamantite. True. We got this. We got this. Let's go. Well, ain't you a bunch of helpful buggers? If you've a mind to lend a hand, I know where you ought to go. Charlene Hamlet is lousy with researchers and scholarly types, busying themselves preparing for the Exodus. Pah! That lot need all the help they can get. Well then, off we go. I shall endeavor to provide Master Kokol with whatever information he should require. You can deal with someone who decides to stay out of it and remain neutral. I mean, that's fair. That's fair. I'll admit, without refined adamantite, I ain't got a bloody clue how else I could get the Aether Burner performing any better. If you lot don't come up with the goods, we're buggered. In order to protect the secrets of the Central Circuit, the researchers must navigate a bewildering maze of paperwork before they are permitted to return to the surface. I suppose it's no different than any other aspect of Charlene's society. We do love our bureaucracy. It's very much a mirror of the city above, which is perhaps how it came to be called the Charlene Hamlet. What a quaint little settlement this is. A shame it is hidden underground. I don't mind a bit of heavy lifting, but I draw the line at paperwork. So much as wave a sheaf of documents at me and I'll put my lance through it. As surprised as I was to learn the Forum planned to send everyone to the moon, I can't imagine how the common folk must feel about it. Do my senses deceive me in the shadow of yon corner? One can but hope this leadeth not to mischievous undertakings. Oh? Is there a Loporrit somewhere? From what I can tell, a lot of people actually live down here. I don't know how much help we can offer, but I dare say they'll benefit from some of that fresh inspiration Scholark Montchain mentioned. Let's start by asking around, ideally without getting in anyone's way. Let's meet by the Aetherite once our work is done. Oh, hello. Are you one of the new helpers? Working on the Aether Burner? Oh dear, I hear things have come to a standstill on that front. Even so, I'd choose that over my current duties, checking and loading samples day in, day out. It's tiring, thankless work. Still, no one'll be cross if I misplace a few legumes or what have you. The Forum's got enough on their plate as it is. What with deciding who gets to board the Ark and when, a lot of powerful people have opinions about that. My heart goes out to Master Fortuneau and the others. Hardly get a moment's rest, I expect. Do they even have time to sleep? Offering to help. That's very kind, but I should be able to organize the rest of the documents myself. It's mostly lists of things we'll need once we arrive on the moon, and then whichever star we choose as our new home. My duties largely concern the maintenance of living conditions, so I'll be a lot busier after we depart. I hear that our lunar collaborators have come down to assist in our efforts. Looking forward to finally meeting them in person, after having communicated with them in such a limited capacity thus far. To be perfectly honest, I have not even the slightest idea what they look like. You're gonna love them. You're gonna love them. I do hope they are not enormous, looming giants. Why, I would much prefer something small and fluffy, like the behatted rabbit that ran by. That is literally your collaborator. 'Twould appear the Loporrids have infiltrated Charlene's most heavily guarded facility. How, I know not. Of course they have.
What joy to sample the delights of a Theris! How marvelous it is to see you again. You'll be pleased to hear I've learned much since our fascinating discussion at the Curatorium. So thanks to Urianger, you see, he's taught me the finer points of cooking, which, despite my name, I knew very little about. So many dishes, so many hard-to-pronounce words. Actually, I was rather hoping he'd show me how to bake an Archon loaf. No. They're quite popular, I hear, though it doesn't sound like it contains any flavor to speak of. Still, if that's the sort of thing your kind enjoys, I shall make enough to last the whole...
Please don't. Please don't.
Crikey, I wasn't expecting to see you here, Zordia. I'm sorry, I didn't have a chance to say goodbye, and for having those other Laporids attack you. Terrible misunderstanding, that. Not to worry, though, as all have since recovered from their rather savage beating you administered. They bear you no ill will. Well, perhaps little, on account of the savagery, but time heals all wounds, anyway. Fancy meeting you here, Zordia. Our friends in the forum brought us to see their teeny-tiny toy boat, which was quite impressive considering they didn't use any creation magics. What we are really interested in is Atheris itself, though we now find ourselves in a sort of funny underground miniaturized version of it.
They're cute. They're so freaking cute.
We were hoping the forum would give us a guided tour, but it appears they are rather preoccupied. Honestly, all that time to prepare and they're still not ready. I suppose we'll just have to show ourselves around, or at least that's what we are planning to do until we chanced upon Urianger and your good self. Since you're both dawdling about, engaging in idle chit-chat, perhaps you could show us a few points of interest. Won't that be fun? If you're too busy to show us the sights, we'll find other ways to keep ourselves amused. Don't you worry.
That's what I'm worried about. A tour of Labyrinthos. An unexpected yet prudent suggestion, given the similarities betwixt this artificial environment and best ways burrow. 'Twould be in our best interest to have the Laporids acquaint themselves with those conditions deemed optimal by their Charlian collaborators. I fear, however, that continued reliance upon my limited knowledge would risk narrowing rather than broadening their perspective. Mayhap thou art better suited to lead this venture.
What a marvelous idea! Might we begin with that great big what's-it over yonder?
Ah yes, the what's-it. I shall leave its explanation to Zordia. Okay, what's this what's-it that you want us to go to?
My word, what magnificent architecture! Such immaculate curvature! I'll have to make several adjustments to my work if I'm to match this degree of craftsmanship. I shall leave no corner unrounded.
Unrounded? Oh my gosh, Singing Way. Singing Way is so excited.
This is all very intriguing, I'm sure. But where are the food preparation stations? What was your word for it? Kitchens? That reminds me, Pudding Way, our newly appointed chief of pudding research, a discipline he himself founded after sampling Urianger's delights, has gone in search of Atheris' ultimate sweet treat. Well, provided it's a pudding, as that's all he ever talks about these days. Have you seen him?
Oh boy. Oh boy. Pudding Way.
Considering Singing Way and Growing Way's specialities, I expect them to pay full attention to your explanations, which I am sure will be most informative.
The Laporids' technical expertise doth far outstrip our own. We would be wise to allow them to form their own conclusions as to function of the various apparatus, rather than offer uninformed suppositions of our own. Unless that is, unbeknownst to me, thou art possessed of surpassing knowledge concerning the construction and operation of advanced Charlian... what's-its?
Goodness me! To build something so large without creation magics is positively stupendous! Perhaps you could direct our attention to its most important features. It's a little hard to see from here, but is that a golden pipe connected to the top of those tanks? And I can see through that window another pipe at the bottom. Ah, this must be for purifying water drawn up from below.
I like how they're coming up with the...
Whee!
Oh my gosh! You spot an ambystoma, an especially lively one at that. It would appear that the concept you observed in another time, another place, was approved for life in the wider world somehow. Oh my gosh! It's here!
Is that water I hear from inside that great big tube? It must be because of those cogs, that gigantic wheel, and that gigantic wheel at the top. Oh, I see. That's how they draw up the water. There's probably some sort of spiral-shaped mechanism inside, too. That looks like the trees in Greatest Endsvale. Hold on, that's a bit of a strange shape. It's thin at the bottom, but big and round at the top. Quite tall for something so unbalanced, too. Now it makes sense. That's where they store the water. Well, if I were to hazard a guess, water drawn from underground, presumably with some other mechanism, is purified here and stored in the tower before being distributed elsewhere. I'm right, aren't I? I knew it! A design brilliant in its simplicity. I dare say it would take only a moment to install in even the harshest of environments. For us Loporites, that is. Indeed, securing a reliable source of water is of the utmost importance for any fledgling settlement. We have read, however, that people of Theris sometimes make their homes in arid deserts and such. How are they able to survive?
These settlements in Thanalan are built near an oasis. Areas near waterfalls are common sites for villages in Girabania.
So wherever you choose to live, you're never far from water. Oh dear, I worry we won't be able to procure the necessary amount. We can provide enough water to keep them from drying out completely, but it would appear they rely on it more than we anticipated. A few adjustments may be in order, once we've calculated the average rate of consumption per individual. It may also be worth learning more about how exactly they obtain their water in the first place.
Master Alphinaud spoke of the machinery responsible for that feat during our journey through Logisticon Alpha, did he not? Mayhap the Loporites will share his appreciation for the engineering marvel.
Oh yes, that sounds absolutely splendid!
Must journey beyond the sanctuary of Charlian Hamlet. I shall lead the way.
You mean we'll have to brave the untamed wilderness? A valid concern indeed. We could not help but notice the many dangerous-looking creatures with big, nasty teeth lurking beyond the safe confines of the settlement. Were we not escorted here by burly custodians, I dread to think what would have become of us.
Regrettable to Benny, a hungry predator with the aforementioned big, nasty teeth, Loporites may appear to be a potential and rather appetizing source of sustenance. You're scaring them. Might I impose upon thee to assist in securing safe passage to Logisticon Alpha? For my part, I shall act as escort to Living Way and Cooking Way. I entrust Singing Way and Growing Way to thy care. A more valiant protector they could not wish for. Godspeed.
If it's all the same to you, I'd rather not be eaten by some horrid beastie. Come along, Growing Way, to the water extraction What's-it. I've a feeling the way forward is not as clear as we'd like. Could you go and take a look? Perhaps you could tell the local beasties we're not clearly as delicious as we might appear. Thank you so much. I really hope this water extraction What's-it is worth these harrowing experiences. All part of the fun, some might say, but I'd rather not be burnt to a crisp if that's all the same to you. That was all very exciting, but I'd rather not do it again. Wait, how exactly were we planning to head back later? You've done well to see those two here safely. They can be a bit skittish at the best of times, so I'm pleasantly surprised they didn't run off and get themselves killed. I couldn't help noticing a distinct lack of carrots along the way. Let's get moving. That building looks nice and solid and safe.
My friends, I bid you welcome to Logisticon Alpha. Our destination doth lie at the lift's top. Pray follow me.
Forgive me for asking, but are we any closer to the kitchens? Come to think of it, why am I even here? Atmospheric manipulators are hardly my area of expertise. As I understand, places like Labyrinthos are the exception, rather than the rule. You don't all build enormous underground living spaces like this, surely. That was terrifying! But at least the scenery was more pleasant than what's name, Garlemald. As a first impression of a Theris, it was far from favorable. Anyway, onwards and upwards, quite literally, as is the case here.
On this occasion, 'twould behoove us to seek the counsel of those qualified to describe the workings of the apparatus. They may also be in possession of schematics or other useful documentation, should the Loporites request them. As the forum's esteemed guests, 'Tis unlikely that they would be refused, if thou knowest as well as I the changeable disposition of Charlian bureaucrats.
Marvelous! Simply marvelous! So this is where the magic, or science rather, takes place. The perfect environment to sustain life. Artificially created. The knowledge we'll gain here will be essential when we start looking for new stars for your kind to inhabit. Apparently most of them don't even have air for you to breathe. You're all very lucky that Atheris just so happens to provide everything you need to thrive. Or did mankind turn out the way they are because of the available resources, I wonder? Either way, it's nothing short of miraculous, and I cannot wait to see more of it. I should like to study this primitive yet nevertheless intriguing contraption a while longer, if I may. That the Charlians were able to build something of this complexity with their limited knowledge and resources is most impressive.
Agriculture shock, Cooking Way is eager for a change of venue, or at the very least, a change of what's it. What's it's a very good word.
This is all very wonderful, I'm sure, but I was rather hoping to learn more about your nourishment provision facilities. In other words, where is the food?
I believe both the knowledge and consumables you seek may be found at Mariol Agronomics, as I imagine Singingway and the others intend to study every conceivable facet of this apparatus. Wouldst thou be so kind as to escort our visiting Culinarian?
Yes, that sounds much more interesting. Hopefully I'll be able to see firsthand some of the delicacies Urianger was telling me about. Even his incredibly vivid, if a bit too verbose, descriptions cannot compare to sampling them myself. Not to mention Atheris will soon be no more, so I must learn all I can while there is still time. Let us brook no further delay. This is the place, yes? The heady aroma was enough to guide me here, and I've spotted several of the fruit and vegetables featured in our compendium. I'd dearly love to try some, but I read that those who help themselves to a farmer's crops without permission are often caught and put into pies. Perhaps you could ask whoever's in charge if they would be willing to part with a few samples. Yo, accompanying me! I suppose if they did put me in a pie, I could just eat my way out. Wait, they get quite hot inside, don't they? On second thought, let's stick to the plan for now.
It's you, the one who climbed down the mine shaft. I'd show you around if I could, but I'm rushed off my feet preparing for the exodus. I'm not the only one. We've all got to find ways to do what we can down here, up there. First on the moon, then on whichever star the forum decides will become our new home. It's all so sudden, so unreal.
Don't you want to go to the moon?
Well, it's better than waiting for the final dates to claim us. But no matter how careful it's all planned, we'll never be able to take every variety of flora and fauna with us. Even the ones we can take may not survive in the new environment. So many species doomed to extinction. Sorry, that's not what you came to talk about, is it?
Nothing quite so dire, I assure you. We merely wish to sample a little of your produce, if we may.
By all means, help yourselves.
Much appreciated, my good fellow. So, where to begin? Oh, I know what these are. Grapes, yes? Let's see if they are as delicious as they look. So sweet, so sour. The taste is much like a ripe philosopher's carrot, and yet the texture is entirely different. The contrast between the outer skin and the fruit within is most peculiar, though far from unpleasant. Yes, I think I'll try another.
Oh my gosh, why are you so cute, Cooking Way?
Well, that certainly gives me food for thought. Though in a far less visceral manner than any philosopher's carrot. But tell me, what is your opinion of grapes?
I'd brave an erupting volcano for a choice bunch. Meh. Ghastly things. I'd rather eat rancid giant toad eyeball.
Yes, they are rather Moorish, aren't they? And from what I've read, quite versatile too. Something about people stepping on them to make intoxicating beverages, as I recall. Anyway, that's enough about grapes for the time being. On to the next treat. Orange by name, orange by nature. What came first, the fruit or the color? Who cares? Let's eat. Yes, that's... Equal parts sweet and sour as with the grapes, yet nothing alike. I may have to consult Urianger about expanding my vocabulary. I simply cannot find the words to describe it. Perhaps what I'm looking for is bitter. This is all very complicated, you know. So many flavors, so many choices, and each individual with their own personal preference. Now I see why you all turned your noses up at the idea of eating nothing but carrots. Marvelous though they still are in my estimation. Let no one say I said otherwise. But speaking of carrots, I've yet to sample any of the vegetables. Let's see what's in the field over there. That color, that texture. Are they some sort of enormous round carrot?
No.
No? In any case, proper nomenclature is less of a concern than the taste. Blech! So hard and flavorless. I may as well be chewing a piece of wood. That all but confirms it. These are nothing more than misbegotten failures masquerading as goodly carrots.
Stop. Can't you see these are pumpkins?
And no one with any sense would try eating them raw. You're supposed to cook them first. Do you not find it an awful bother?
Far from it.
Cooking is a joy unto itself. And what's more, it broadens the range of ingredients that we may safely eat. But above all else, cooking allows us to draw out the full potential of our produce. Pumpkin stew has been one of my favorite dishes for as long as I can remember. And perhaps even these hard blocks of plant matter can become as delicious as the orange I sampled. I wonder, though, if there's anything even more delicious. How about that yellow fruit over yonder? What a wondrous fragrance! With luck, it'll have a flavor to match.
Oh, lemons.
As I've no idea how these are eaten, I'll just bite into it. My tongue! Is this poison?
It's a lemon.
A lemon? You mean it's supposed to taste like this? How can something so similar to an orange be so revolting? Maybe some time before my palate recovers from this ordeal. As such, I had best call an end to this round of sampling. Let's say our farewells and return to the others.
We're not gonna try anything cooked. I feel like cooking way. You should be called fruits and vegetable way. Finished, have you? I trust you found something to your liking.
I'm rather enamored with the grapes and oranges, less so by the pumpkin. Though I learned the hard way they're not to be eaten raw. Then there was the lemon, the deceiver. I still feel so violated.
First time, was it? I'd hate for you to leave with such a bad taste in your mouth in more ways than one. So I'll give you this lemon muffin I baked. If this doesn't change your opinion, nothing will. Ooh, there we go, something cooked.
More lemon? Have I not suffered enough?
Try it. Do it.
Nevertheless, it would be remiss of me to spurn this opportunity to... Oof, bit of sick came up there. Learn more of your inscrutable ways. Very well, lemon muffin, do your worst.
This is...
delicious!
Cute.
Although I still detect a hint of lemon, it complements the sweetness of the dough to create a perfect harmony. I never would have guessed its vile bitterness could be utilized so elegantly. My good chap, this is simply breathtaking.
See, we rarely use lemon in its natural state, but it has a starring role in all sorts of recipes, and the same is true for many other ingredients. It comes down to making the most of the resources at our disposal, and sometimes that can even be the difference between life and death. I know we won't be able to take every species with us. No doubt the Forum agonized over what was worth preserving and what will be consigned to history. Hard choices, but make them we must if we're to survive.
Such strength of will! Now I know what Heidelin sees in your kind. Mankind, the Loperids, who were both born from the accumulated knowledge of the ancients. They learned all there is to learn about the nature of sentient life and the fates of the stars themselves. Once a civilization has fulfilled the basic requirements for survival, it will inevitably seek to eliminate all forms of negativity and achieve perfection. And therein lies its folly and its downfall. For perfection is an unattainable ideal. 'Tis the paradox of one of the immaculate carrot.
True. Facts.
Yet civilizations, since time immemorial, have deemed the pursuit of perfection as progress. They pay no heed to the cost incurred in their futile quest, and all too often become the architects of their own demise, their dreams forever unfulfilled. What then is the alternative? The answer lies in knowing that our existence can never be perfect, to be content with what we have and make the most of it.
True.
When life gives you lemons, make lemon muffins!
Oh my gosh, that was a whole setup. They set that up for this line. Pardon my Eorzean, but what in the seven hells are you on about? And who are you, anyway?
Cooking Way, at your service. I'm here to help prepare for the trip to the moon. And once you get there, you'll be able to try my carrots. I've been growing all different kinds.
Yeah, the whole game was set up that line. Been building up to lemon muffins for 11 years. When life gives you lemons, make a reference, yes.
But don't worry, there'll be room for your crops too. We'll work together to preserve as many of Atheris' species as possible, if you're up to the challenge.
Yes, of course. I look forward to it.
Well, this has all been highly productive. Probably. Let's go back and see if Urianger and the others have run out of machinery to inspect, shall we?
Cute. Oh my gosh, I love the Loporits. I need a plushie of the Loporits, I swear. My Cooking Way's broad grin, I assume your excursion was a roaring success.
Oh, there you are! Oh, the others finished talking about rain-making whatsits yet? Where have you and Cooking Way been? If the two of you were engaged in pursuit of an educational nature, you should have taken me too. I am the leader, after all. Not to rub it in, but we had the most fantastic time while you were away. Urianger was able to obtain all manner of meteorological data for us to pore over. I'll be sure to put my newfound knowledge to good use once we return to the moon. It's my duty to make your journey as comfortable as possible, though there's no telling how long it will be. 100 years, 1,000? Probably closer to 5,000, give or take.
We're all gonna be dead.
That was most enlightening, especially the part with the lemon muffin. Actually, I was wondering, do you know of any other places famed for their cuisine?
Limsulumin says home to the Culinarians Guild and many less than savory establishments. The Far East has oodles of noodles.
Would that I had time to visit. The more I learn of Atheris, the more I wish I could spare it from the final days. Alas, Heidelin's orders are to flee, not to resist. If only there was some other way.
We're gonna find another way.
Muffins! I wonder if this is how Pudding Way felt the first time Urianger made pudding. Though I'm not sure what was that actually was pudding, come to think of it. Something about it seemed a bit off.
What did you make, Urianger? Can Urianger actually cook? Zordi, I trust thy time at Mariel Agronomics did bear fruit. I freaking swear. Really, Urianger? Really? Our own efforts, too, were rewarded. Now we possess an embarrassment of educational riches. No doubt our guests' relentless pursuit of knowledge could occupy them and us for a fortnight. Alas, time is of the essence. Let us return to Charlie and Hamlet forthwith. I shall gladly attend to each and every Loporit there, should further questions within my power to answer arise.
This was ever so delightful, and with this much information, I can fine-tune the moon's environs for your people's comfort. It's surprisingly tricky to estimate the appropriate temperature settings for beings so lacking in fur. Why did I not just ask Jebke how to make carrot muffins? We could have had baked goods bursting with happiness.
That's actually a good, why didn't you do that?
Oh no, there was nowhere in particular I was hoping to go. I simply wish to see, hear, feel, and think as much as I possibly can while we're here. Aww! What does that look for? What did I say?
Oh, living way! How dare you! The Loporits want for activities and stimulation, but I struggle to conceive of how to busy them whilst we wait.
Yes, Zordia? That was indeed me verbalizing a sigh to express my emotional state. Do you want to know why? Because I saw the reconstructed environmental data for Atheris at Logisticon Alpha, that's why. A forest so lovely and so leafy. Are all your forests like that?
The Black Shroud is quite leafy indeed, a place of utmost tranquility. They're verdant, at least. The trees of Dravania stand particularly proud. You should see the forests of the first. One was purple. I'll go with, you should see the forests of the first. One was purple.
I say! With a star so wonderful, it comes as no surprise that you're reluctant to leave it behind. I was a fool to think otherwise. To assume that the moon was something worth being proud of.
Aw, you could be proud of it.
How ridiculous we must seem to you. Trying so hard, yet achieving so little. Oh, no! Hug the growing way. Pet the growing way.
Not at all. Thy works are no less worthy of their uniqueness. Thought I heard tiny voices. Of course it's Thancred. Thancred, how didst thou fare? Oh, I was able to glean a fair bit from the researchers while helping to move their cargo. Preparations have proceeded without interruption here, despite news of the coming end. We have the forum's leadership to thank for that. That doesn't mean people aren't worried, though, quite the opposite. Knowing disaster could strike at any moment, they hurry to complete their work, equally aware that a single error could be the difference between life and death, and we can hardly tell them there's no cause for concern. Perhaps not, though aided by our goodly growing way, we may yet find other ways to lighten their burden.
Me? Be of use to people? I'm honored that you would think me so capable, but I'm not sure that I'm up to the challenge.
Nevertheless, I believe in thee.
If you say so, I suppose it can't hurt to try.
I passed someone moping in the Western Plaza that looked to be in need of a helping paw. Perhaps you might start with him. 'Tis as good a place as any. Come, you'd best go with them. I don't think Urianger misjudged him. But Growingway does look like he could use some emotional support. I still have work to complete elsewhere. I trust that I won't return to find any Loporits in tears.
Aw. Let the Loporits help you.
Oh. Can I help you? 'Tis you who would help me. Is my anxiety truly so obvious? A burden shared is a burden eased. Pray tell us of thy troubles. Those little fellows do look like good listeners. I'm an engineer, you see, and what they say of the ship, that it's the sum of decades of Charlian ingenuity, that it's built with peerless elegant technology, is all true, but I know that none of that's a guarantee. We've never before launched a starfaring vessel, let alone flown it in the great expanse. All the tests we've run have been on the ground. Only operational personnel and cargo will be aboard for the first voyage, but even so, if it fails us then, what can we do? And if it doesn't, it could fall apart on the next flight, or the one after that. We've done everything we can to prevent that from happening, but it hardly matters. We thought the Aetherburner's design was flawless too, and look how that turned out. Aw. Thou art familiar with these most daunting technologies, and thus dost thou hold the power to allay his fears.
Oh, I'm not sure about that, but well, maybe you could tell me if there were any aspects of the ship's design that you're especially worried about.
Our ability to walk about and perform our tasks, for one. I've devised a means by which to employ gravity, a spatio-temporal spell, to regulate the environment. But what if it's not strong enough? What if everyone floats away and begins crashing into things as soon as we've left the star?
Aha! Gravitation! Maybe I can be of help after all. Up there, it is not so different from down here, you see. The same rules apply. And if you consider them as part of one great big cosmos rather than separate places...
Aw, there you go. I suspect both parties shall find comfort in this conversation. Yet if Thancred's tale be true, still others would benefit from insight born of experience. Might I prevail upon the Loporits to attend them?
An excellent idea, if I do say so myself. There is naught we'd like more than to ease the hearts of the fine people of Aetheris, and learn more about them while we're at it.
Oh my gosh, I love them so much! Full glad am I to hear it. Gather thy companions and bring them hither. Zordia, thou hast a gift for finding souls in need of succor. Pray seek thee out the distressed and the apprehensive, and inform them that help is at hand. I shall await them here, that I might introduce each to a suitable Loporit. I got you, Urianger. Leave it to me.
Oh, I do so look forward to that, a place for every Loporit, and every Loporit in their place.
Do I just talk to anyone?
Ahem, a little privacy, please.
Sorry.
Concerns? Nay, there's no point in worrying at this stage. It'll only make the work go that much the slower.
This woman seems to be coping well. What am I thinking about? The medical facilities on the ship, of course. I designed them with the assistance of our sages and chirurgeons. But to imagine every illness or injury that one might face in that great expanse is beyond any of us, to say nothing of the effects that living out there indefinitely might have on the body. The crew from the moon! Why did I not think of that? Oh, there's 8 people we're looking for. Okay. The end of the world is nigh, yet the work goes no faster. Schedules are such temperamental things, feasible one moment, utter bollocks the next. And yet, I've never felt so alive! This one is beyond our help. Only sleep can save her now. You! Yes, you idiot! Have you seen an envelope lying about? This imbecile refuses to give me the alchemic I ordered without that bloody slip of parchment. Unless your friends have a spell to make me remember where I dropped my damned envelope, I doubt there'll be more help than you, and you've wasted enough of my time already. It would be unfortunate for all involved to inflict this man upon the Labyrinthos. This is really fun. I love seeing the what the natural world is actually going through. The natural world. What the people in this world. It makes it feel way more lived in. My face! What's wrong with my... Ow. Perhaps I am a bit tense. I was tasked with ensuring that the proper fauna, and only the proper fauna, are brought with us to the moon. However, the suitability of a few species is still under debate. And I can hardly make the decision myself when I know so little about the environment up there. Including the Loperites in our discussion is a wonderful idea. I absolutely will thank you. Perhaps their biology itself might offer some clue as well. Consult our collaborators. I suppose that would be more effective than sitting here brooding. I'm attempting to calculate how much cargo we can consolidate into fewer trips, should the Aether Burner make our original estimate unfeasible, but there are simply too many variables. I feel as if my brow will turn inside out. But perhaps our lunar associates will have more insight into how much weight constitutes too much weight for our purpose. Thank you for letting me know.
My, what a lovely idea! I too noticed people becoming rather tense, so I rushed out to pluck some fresh and fragrant tea leaves. Now I need only track down 100 or so cups. But don't you worry, I can manage. I hope your plan to cheer everyone up goes well.
This woman is doing better than you are! Damn! Blasted assistants, where have they gone off at a time like this? Beg pardon, but I have not the time for idle chit-chat. I need to reconfirm that aether levels are consistent throughout the vessel's machinery, and it seems I shall have to do so single-handedly. I swear when I find those assistants of mine. The Loperites are willing to help. Why didn't you say so? At least they won't moan about how they checked 24 times already and haven't slept in weeks. Lazy sods. Oh my gosh. 56 bunches of weeds in the ground, 56 bunches of weeds, rip one out, add to the mound, 55 bunches of weeds on the... Eve, I'm not neglecting my duties, I swear! I was in need of a little break, you see, but then I found myself unable to relax at all, so I went on a walk, and then I noticed these weeds, and... Pleasant conversation partners, and oh so fuzzy! Goodness me, that does sound like a much better way to relax. Apologies, I am awaiting a delivery. Whatever it is will have to wait. Seems this gleaner is too busy to chat, for his benefit or otherwise. Have you heard anything of what's on the moon? I have no doubt that we can make it up there, but the searching for a new star part of the plan sounds awfully vague to me. I asked the forum, but they will only tell us that our collaborators have everything under control. Forgive me, but I don't feel particularly safe wandering through the sea of stars on gods know what made by gods know who. Mean to say that I could speak with them directly? Amazing, I hope they like questions. Oh, they will love questions. Oh, you're a comm researcher.
Worries. No, I believe I'm fine, thank you. I've been confiding in my colleagues, and it's helped a lot. Can't recommend it enough.
This researcher already has the support she needs. Hyperventilating engineer, oh no. By the gods, my chest is tight. Am I dying? Is this what dying feels like? Not that that's funny, but doing the voice for it. Oh, do pardon me. I didn't see you there. There is no cause for concern, I assure you. No cause for concern, even though we may need to depart at any moment, and if the hull I designed buckles out under the strain, the entire vessel may explode on launch, claiming countless lives and dooming all mankind. But that is highly unlikely. Yes, highly unlikely. Our visitors can help me triple check for the structural flaws, you say? Why, that would be wonderful! I'm breathing more easily already. Is anything bothering me? Well, I've been loading cargo for bells now, so my back feels like a void sense played it as a piano. My feet and knees are as drums and cymbals, too. This cleaner seems fine, if in need of a break. Just leave me to my misery. The forum can appoint someone else. I apologize, I simply don't know what to do. How am I supposed to pilot the Ark if I'm already falling apart under the pressure? You know a starship pilot that I might speak with. Truly. Well then, there's no time to waste. They can help me prepare for this monumental task. Oh, this is cute! Oh my gosh, they have a Laporet to talk to. Oh my gosh, this is so cute. Oh, I freaking love this.
Zordia, he said he was glad we spoke and he thanked me. It was all worth it after all, wasn't it? Even the mistakes we made. Because now we can tell them what not to do.
True. Mistakes are important to make. It's all a part of the learning process. Behold, Zordia, through thine efforts, word hath spread throughout Labyrinthos, verily to a far greater number than we anticipated. Livingway doth gather more Laporets as we speak. I shall assign each in accordance with their skills, that new bonds of friendship might be forged. Aw, I love this! Should greater matters require not thine attentions, watch over them, I prithee.
In the long run, however, most of you won't die.
You put it that way. In the long run, most of you won't die, but a fair few of you will. It's fine to admit you're scared, you know. Aw, I love this! Oh boy. Aw, this music.
ちょっと休憩。一度にこんなに喋ったのは初めてですわ。
I freaking love Livingway.
よ、盛況だな。月の民から助言をもらえるらしいって、早速街中で話題になってたぞ。
This is so sweet.
そういうことでしたら、こちらのスリーピングウェイと話してみるのがよろしいかと。彼は月の操縦士ですので。
Sleeping Way! よく覚えてるもんだな。レポリットの違いを見分けるのは難しいと思うんだ。
あなた方を嘆きの海から送り出した後、私たちとウリエンジェはたくさん話をしましたから。彼はアーテリスについていろいろと教えてくれましたし、こちらの質問にもとことん付き合ってくれましたわ。
Dude, Urianger, I can only imagine. He went through it for sure.
私の本ももういっぱい。
Aww.
こうして実際に来てみると、まだ驚くことばかりですが、そもそも彼から教えられなければ、地上に降りてくることもなく、月で待ち続けていたでしょう。
I feel like Vanal would have liked them to travel. Oh.
こんな光景、昔のウリエンジを知る奴が見たら驚いて、喜んだだろうな。
Aww.
ルイゾワ様やミンフィリア、パパにも。それから。
いや、ここでいい相談役を紹介してもらえると聞いたんだ。私たちにも頼めるかな。
Is this
ウィルフスンさん、ブローウィドさん。
転移魔法の研究者として有名な夫妻だよ。ムーンブリ
Bro,
ターご両親。
No!
お久しぶりです。
Oh.
お二人ともこちらにいらしたのですか。
ああ、しばらく前に妻ともども引き抜かれてね。しかしまさかここで君と再会することになるとは。
まったくだよ。あんたと来たらうちの子の訃報に手紙を添えてきたきり、何の連絡もよこしやしない。本当に心配かけて。
申し訳ございません。直接ご報告に伺うべきだと分かっていながら、何よりムーンブリダのことを
It's not your fault.
私は
It's not your fault.
ルイゾア様に置いていかれたと嘆いていた彼女にとって、君たち暁が呼んでくれたことがどれほどの喜びだったか。あの子の成したこと、すべての決断は間違いなくあの子自身のものだったと思う。どうか君も己を責めるのではなく、彼女を誇ってやってはくれないか。
Oh, he needed that hug.
私たちに起こってることがあるとすれば、それはあんたと一緒に泣けなかったことだよ。あんな震えたちの手紙だけよこして私たちであんたの分まで泣く羽目になったじゃないか。
本当に申し訳がございません。私は語れる言葉を持たなかった。積み上げてきた知識も読み解いてきた詩も無力でした。私はただ無力で。
バカだね。誰だってそうさ。私たちだってあの子、この悲しみを語れはしないよ。だからちゃんと分かってた。分かってたんだよ。
He needed that. I hate this.
君たちがまだ小さかった頃、遊ぶことより学ぶことを愛した君を冷やかした子がいたね。その度にムーンブリダが飛んでいって喧嘩をした。私たちがいさめてもウリエンジはいいやつなんだとむくれるばかりでね。
だったら相手を叩くんじゃなくて、あんたがウリエンジェと周りをつながないとって言ったら、そうかなんて腕組みしてうなってさ。
Oh, that's so sweet. I hate it.
それからは前よりも強引にあんたを連れ出してみたり、考えてることがわかるようにって同じ本を読もうとしたり。
Aww. Aww.
当時のあんたにとっちゃいい迷惑だったかもしれないけど、あの子なりにとても頑張っていたんだよ。
そして君は今こうして大勢の中にいる。それどころか絆を結ぶ手助けまでしているね。私たちはそのことがたまらなく嬉しいんだ。
ムーンブリダが信じた人は力いっぱい押した背中はその後もちゃんと歩き続けてくれていた。うちの自慢の娘の笑顔を今日はとても近くに感じるよ。ありがとう、ウリエンジェ。
はい、私も今やっと思い出せています。あの笑顔は眩しく温かく、悲しいものではなかったことを。
No more. No more crying.
ウリエンジェには大切な方がいらっしゃったのですね。
Oh.
気になるか？
いいえ、私はただまだ知らないことが多いのだと思い直しただけですわ。
そうだな。生まれた時からここに至って知らないこと、わからないこと、足りないことだらけだ。
That is so true.
だからこの星はまだ終わるには早すぎるんだよ。
That was sweet. That was really good closure. A wild crying to disappear and it was gone. But what? I thought they were gonna do that earlier in the I completely forgot about it. it caught me off guard. Only for roughly 7 years now, 100% Frizz. That was a really good moment for him. Because you usually see Urianger, he's like this really tall, he's like one of the tallest characters in the Scions. And then to see Moonbreeda's parents, they're like the same height or even taller than him. He looked so small. Remind me to invite Urianger for a drink when we have a moment to breathe. We're long overdue for one. Aww. You can raise a glass to Moonbreeda. Oh, you must be one of the Scions, correct? Thank you for caring for my daughter. The time she spent with you was all too short, but I know she was proud to have you as comrades. Urianger is too, I'm sure. And I certainly feel better for knowing he has good friends to look after him. See that he comes home from time to time, will you? The classical Rogadin language isn't so different from Eorzean. Did you ever wonder why we named our daughter Moon's Bride? When I first held her, the moon was shining silver and full. The whole world seemed aglow. I knew it had chosen her, and that she would be a beacon of that self-same light. Of course, we'd later hear our fair share of jokes about how we ought to have gone for sun instead, and how bright and stubborn she was. But fiery as my Moonbreeda was, she was always kind and gentle. That was a lot of stuff I didn't really need to know to make it hurt more.
I was so busy asking questions about Atheris that I never thought to ask more about Urianger. I'd like to, but where would I begin? I assure you that my fellow Loporids are equally excited to have this opportunity. They were humming the whole way here.
Aww.
We spent so long gazing at the star, wondering and hoping. But to be here now, to walk among the people, to be a part of their lives, and know that we've made a difference. It's so much more than I ever dreamed. Goodness me, I've never felt like there was too little time before. There are so many people to talk to, so many things to learn.
Aw, it's okay to not be okay. That goes for everyone in chat. It's okay to not be okay. If you need to let it out, let it out. Now, Zordia, be assured that I am fine. I am... Oh, full glad to see them too, after so very long. Gladder still that it was in your company, as difficult as it was to accept their kindness. 'Twould have been far harder had I faced them alone. I'm right here with you!